Hi all, Baines here from AusBSA Bantams. Welcome back to my workshop. Welcome back to the channel. Yes, it has been a while. I think it's been a month since I put any content out. Very good reason for that. I've gone through and serviced most of the bikes that I had to, and I've also been on a holiday to North Queensland for a couple of weeks, catch up with friends and sit around in a resort for a while, which was pretty hard to take. But anyway, in this video, we are going to service my Ducati Pantah. So we'll get stuck into it. So whilst all these bikes are still under covers, the oil line, that's the Himalayan there. So the oil line's turned up for that. So I can go and change out that oil line if you watched in the last video I did, which ironically enough was the worst performing video I've ever put on YouTube. So that's why I didn't bother about doing too many more. So that's the Harley done. 650M done. My wife's GN250's done. Under there is one of the Bantams that's been done. Motor Guzzi's been done, and now it's time to do the last of the big bikes to get done, which is this Ducati Pantah. So I love this bike, absolutely love it. I really, as a kid, really wanted a Mike Harwood replica, but the reality is I'm too short to ride one. So next best thing is one of these. So if you don't know much about Ducatis, this is the first of the belt drive Ducatis. And if you're not sure what that is or means, don't worry, I'm about to show you. So I'll get this bike around in the other side of the shed and up onto the stand. So first jobby is to get the tank off, and I have actually got a job to do on the tank. I've never actually seam sealed this, so I'm going to actually fill it up with vinegar and get that. I've just noticed a bit of internal corrosion in it, so we'll get this tank off, we'll have a look, drain the fuel, and get a tank sealer in it. I needed to get access down. These are your covers here and under here that house your two belts, and obviously your cams for each cylinder up there. So we'll get this out of the way. I'll leave the fairing on because it's a bit of a prick of a job to get off, but we'll get the tank off and we'll get some access, and I need to get the access for the up here in the head. So as you can see, I've just got a line there draining the fuel out of this side of the fuel tank. But with everything, I poke my nose around with a torch and have a bit of a look. And I have an oil leak on this bike, but it's actually not coming from where I thought it was coming from. It's actually coming from this cover here. It's coming from underneath that. So I'm going to have to go online and see if I can get another gasket for it. It's definitely leaking out of there. And I actually thought it was from the oil filter, because you might have seen a tiny little patch underneath it. It's only just started to develop this oil leak, and I thought it was actually coming from the oil filter, but it's not. It's coming from this cover. Now, how many Ks is this bike done? You won't be able to read it. I'm just standing up to have a look. 98,000 Ks. So for a 500cc bike of this vintage, what is it, 45 years old? Jesus, it's nearly 50 years old. You know, that's a fair amount of Ks. I have done, I don't know if I've said before, I have rebuilt the new pistons, rings. I had stainless steel valves made up by V2 in Western Australia, and that was all fitted to this bike, and that was about 3,000 or 4,000 Ks ago. So anyway, I will keep going and on with the service. I'll obviously have to drain the oil out to change that gasket out, but I'll see if I can get one first rather than have to cut one. But you'd have to agree, it's a gorgeous looking bike, isn't it? I mean, if it looks like it's doing 100 mile an hour sitting there, you know they're looking gorgeous. We'll get this tank draining and we'll get into it. I will try and get you in to be able to see in the tank. You might be able to see that there. I'm looking through the viewfinder. It's not flash. I'm a little bit disappointed actually. All of a sudden that's just come up. So hence why we've got to get this tank cleaned, and I'll obviously also change out inline fuel filters, even though they look pretty clean. So there's obviously not a great deal of debris or anything coming through, but that doesn't mean I can't change it. They've been on for a while and you can see they're a bit yellow and discoloured. But we'll get this tank drained and we'll get the tank sealer in. And you can probably see it there. So we've got the tank drained, and I will take it over into my wash bay so I can set it up to fill it full of vinegar. How long will I leave it for? A few days at least. I'll just see how it goes. I'll keep peering in the tank with a torch and just check it out. Something's happening here. Oh, the rubber's come out. Ugh. That's got it. Beauty. Nothing in there. Bit of a tight squeeze in here, as you can see, but it works. It's my wash bay. So, what we do now is just fill the tank with vinegar. Now I know there's other people use other methods and electrolysis and all that, but I found this like the cheapest and easiest way to go. It's never sort of really let me down, so I just stick to it. Plus you can reuse the vinegar a couple of times. Once I've got little short lengths of chain that I'll put in, and I'll just swoosh that around the tank to knock off all the rust. Then I will wash it out with sugar soap, rinse it, put about 2 cups of methylated spirits in there, swish that all around because it sort of scavenges the water out of the seams, and then dry it out, and then I'll put a tank sealer in. There are proprietary kits around that have got special cleaners, degreasers, and what do you call it? Like phosphating sort of properties for the rust removal things, but courses for courses. Each their own. Okay, I'm just looking through the viewfinder and I doubt whether you can see it, but anyway, just underneath where the footrest rubber is, there's a bung in the side of the engine there, which is a screen which has to come out. You might see I've got the oil pan underneath, dropped the oil filter, I've dropped the oil, didn't look too bad to be honest, but it's been in there well, 2 years plus, so time to get it out. So yeah, I've got to take the engine pipe off, so I'll do that now. I'll get the engine pipe off, get access to this screen down here, and we'll have a look in there, and hopefully there's nothing in it. It's always nice when your exhaust studs that actually come undone instead of snapping. Mind you, these are, oh, I mean, they're 8 mil. I was looking at the Z250 and they're only like 6, you know, and old. Rightio, my apologies for putting on the angle, but there's the screen just in there, not this thing here, that's your sight glass. Just underneath that is the screen that I've got to pull out. So I'll just put you back up the right way around. As you can see, I've had to drop the whole exhaust down to get access. So yes, a bit of a pain, but that happens with things. So anyway, we'll get into and take that screen out and have a look. Right, I'm just going to give a bit of a clean around the plug. Just to make sure I've got no debris or anything around there. It looks pretty clean anyway. We'll take it out and we'll have a look. Bloody hell. Oh, that's in tight. A bit too tight. Right, out she comes. So I'm just letting that drain off a bit. Okay. There is some bits and bobs in there. But it's just dissolving straight away. There's no metallic bits. It generally looks pretty good. I don't know what that is. It's a string or something. So I will take this over and give it a clean in the ultrasonic bath, and we'll reinstall that. There's a aluminium washer there that it looks in pretty good nick. I think I'll leave it and just put that back in. So yeah, I'm actually pretty happy. I think the darker bits are actually something along the lines of like the shellac coating on your stator or something like that, where they got the wires. And when you think, as I said, what's close to 45 years old, this bike, you've got to expect some degradation of some of the things. So yeah, give it a clean up, bung it back in, and oil filter back on, sump plug back in. Alright, so now what we're looking at is the left-hand engine cover. So as you can see, there's bolts that have to go around, well, there are bolts in it, down around here. So whilst we had to drop the exhaust system down to access the screen on the other side of the engine, we're going to have to drop it out of the way to get this off, which is what I want to do whilst all the oil's drained out of it. Now, these exhausts, as I said, are pretty old, so I'm having a little bit of trouble getting them apart, but I think we'll be able to manipulate it so I can still get access down in here. So I'm not too concerned at this stage, but I mean, I had to take it off to drop it down to get access for the other side anyway. So one way or the other, I was going to have to do it. So we'll just persist and see how we go. Right, we're getting ready to take this side cover off. So I'm just giving it a good clean around underneath because it has had an oil leak. There's a bit of grunge and grime sticking to it. So I obviously don't want any of that transferring into my engine. Just off camera, I've put the sump plug back in and I've put the oil filter on. So I'll get this cover off and we will have a look. I was just remembering there's a boss around the front here that used to leak as well. However, I fixed that up, and this is the oil levels. Like static oil level in the engine is below where this bung is, so, and this thing has actually started leaking like static oil leak, so it's got to be somewhere where there's an oil level interface with the gasket. So anyway, I'll keep progressing, bring it back, stop waffling, get it done. So I'll bring you in a bit closer, hopefully you can see. We'll have a look from behind. So my wife's mowing. God bless her. This is the connector for your alternator, and this is the line that comes out. Now I've just disconnected these from the rectifier. I don't know if you can see that, but they are absolutely shot. My summation is that the connectors have got dirty and it's not really hasn't got a good connection, and she's overheated the connector. It's not good anyway, so I'm going to have to cut those and get new clips. And then up in here
the two little male bits of the spade bit are hanging out of the rectifier. I'll have to get in there with some probably little points file or something to give that a really good clean. But anyway, I have to take these out so that, because they'll come off when I remove this cover. And then to top it all off, I found these connections here which have got bad wires. Someone's done this in the past and it's pretty, not pretty shonky, it is shonky, and it's a big unnecessary loop in the wiring. So I'll change these out to like the Yamaha 3.5mm connectors like I've got on my electronic ignition units, and because these have been bent around pretty hard and all the insulation's broken on it, so more stuff to have a look at. And that line's coming up from where your pickup and everything is, so it's got something to do with the ignition. Anyway, focus on getting this oil leak fixed first, and then we'll go back and do all this other stuff. Right, we'll give it a bit of a tap so we can get it. Here it comes. Should be able to get my fingernails behind that. And there we have it. And that's interesting because the gaskets come off all in one piece. So what I'm going to do is clean this up. I'm going to put some gasket sealant on the existing gasket after the residue drains out in here, and pull it back up, because there was, well, this screw and that screw didn't have a huge amount of torque on it. So we'll see what happens. This is obviously a flywheel, your CDI pickups there, starter ring gear. Yeah, and that's actually looking really nice and clean in there. Fantastic. I mean, this is a 100,000k engine, it's looking really good. All right, let's waffle, get onto this, get this back on, get it all cleaned up. I mean, but look at inside that cover there. Like, this bike's been well serviced its whole life, even before, well, I've had it for 25 years, but even before that, it's been looked after. Look, there should no dregs or anything there. Bugger all. Fantastic. All right, we have run into more problems. Firstly, this shellacky sort of stuff around here is what I think that was in the screen. There's a couple of tiny bits missing, but there's only a few tiny bits in the oil screen. Next thing, the bearing down the center there, it's not flash, so it's got to come out. I'm going to change it out. I'm just not happy with it. So I've got me puller over here that I've just got to modify a bit to try and get in there and get underneath it to pull it out. At least it's not blind, at least they've given you some room to be able to get at it. So all right, looking down from above, so these are our output wires from our alternator, and so these have got the dodgy connectors on them. So we're putting new connectors on, so nothing exciting. Here comes my wife in the mower, she should be finished in hours. Okay, that is where, you might be able to see in there, hang on, where's the torch? Those two white wires there, you can see I've put the new connectors on the end of there. Next job is these wires here. So you can see that the back edge of them, they're actually breaking because they were cranked around it like that, and they've just, over time, they're just broken. So I will cut these back, and they've got tape on them. One of them had a number on it, so I would say that these have to go together
in the same way they come apart. But anyway, we're going to get some bullet connectors. I will individually like cut and sort this out as well while I'm here. Well, we will eventually get on to actually doing some servicing, like taking the covers off, but I have to take the airbox off and the ducktail as well to be able to access the rear cylinder inlet valves. But we'll get there. We'll get these little jobbies done while we're on the way. Obviously, got the cover back on, so no, it's all progressing. So I fitted up 3 of the bullet connectors already, just about to do the last one. Couple of tiny issues with oxidization on the wire, so you might be able to just make out the paste there. Just I'm letting it etch a bit on the wires before I give it a dab of solder. All the bullet connectors are not only crimped but soldered as well. I do that on my electronic ignitions. Silicon covers on it. It should keep it all nice and kosher, unlike what they were, which was just those crappy bloody things you get from a auto store. And you can see like the wire insulation breaking out in the back there. I think you can make that out. Anyway, chuck them out, they're no good, and we'll get this one finished off. So that'll just about do for today. We've got a few orders that are coming. I've just had a few phone calls, so I've got to chase up some parts. Yeah, a few little unexpected jobs that had to be done, but I mean, they've got to be done to ensure the integrity of the bike, don't they? So anyway, put me not behind the 8 ball, but I thought I would have been a bit further progressed with the servicing. But we'll get stuck in it tomorrow and we'll keep going. So yeah.